all complete. In your wholeness I find serenity. All is oneness, unity. In your presence I find all of me. Grace of God flows, and I go where Spirit leads. I am open to receive.
Pray with me. As we just move into this time of connection and recognition and realization, we do so knowing that there is a power that is present in all things, at all times, everywhere. This power is whatever we choose to call it. I call it God. I call it Spirit. I call it divine intelligence, wisdom. And as we just breathe in the truth of this knowing, of this realization that this power, this presence is here with us now, everywhere, we allow ourselves to be comforted, and we allow ourselves to feel that connection, unified, united in this presence, connected to Source, in Source. And so the truth of all of this is that we are all one. We are all one. We are all connected. And it's perfect and it's beautiful. And as we just breathe that in, we relax into this moment. We relax into this time, allowing ourselves to be here now, to be present, and to know that we are always, always supported. And so we move into this time with gratitude, grateful for the technology, grateful for the absolute concept of all the things that are coming forth, that we can tap into this message whenever we choose. Grateful to know that even as we do this and not see one another face to face, we know that we are all here together, connected in community. It's good and it's perfect. I let it go. I let it be. And so it is. I want to begin with a quote this morning from Iyanla Vanzant. Just for today, allow yourself to embrace all that you are every moment. Know that you are a vessel of light. Allow yourself to release all doubts about your ability, the mistakes of the past, and the fear of the future. Just for today. I think this is an amazing idea. I think this is beautiful. What if we choose to do this just for today? To embrace all that we are, all the goodness, the greatness, the joy, all the crazy, all the mistakes, all of the components that make up each and every one of us, just for today. Let's embrace that. Our talk title today is With Open Arms. With open arms. And as we take this into this time together, I have 3 words that I want to bring forth. Embrace, embody, and become. Embrace, embody, and become. And if you've been paying attention, you remember from the visioning that these are pieces of the visioning. What must we embrace? What must we embody? What are we going to become in this idea of ourselves and our lives? Embracing something or someone is an act of receptivity. It implies a level of enthusiasm to embrace. To embrace. You see, we cannot have or experience anything that we're not willing to receive. We not only move away from becoming an observer, but we actually kind of move out of the arena completely of having a part in the process. It has to do with our focus. It has to do with our mindset. So I'm sure you remember this. Years and years ago, there was this video of a bunch of guys playing basketball. And you were told at the beginning of the video to count all of the people that were wearing the blue jerseys or the orange jerseys or whatever it was. And at the end of the video, the question was asked, how many of you saw the gorilla? And for many of us, there was that moment of, gorilla? Thought I was counting the number of jerseys. What gorilla? And when you went back and you viewed the video again, you saw the same players playing basketball, and you saw a gorilla walk across the court. But because we were so focused on paying attention to the number of jerseys and the color of jerseys, we failed to see this surprising new idea that came forth in the midst of the video. You see, when we are focused or closed-minded, we're focusing so hard on one certain thing or a specific outcome that we don't allow the room and the space for something more, for something better. So take a moment right now, and I want you to take your right arm and hold it straight out as far as you can, and your left arm and hold it straight out as far as you can, and open your arms wide. And as you do this, I want you to consider for a moment what exactly is within that arena of your experience right now with your arms open wide. What all can you receive into your reality, into your truth right now with your arms opened wide? That's where we want to look today. Check in with yourself. How does that feel? Even the energy in your body feels different when your arms are open wide than when they are crossed across your chest. The very energy is different because it's circulating at a different vibration. So my question is pretty simple. Can you take today? Can you do this just for today? Can you try this with me just for today and embrace all of the goodness that you are, all of the wonderful things that you are, reminding yourself moment by moment that you are a precious, priceless gift from the Creator, just for today? I have a quote here from Ernest Holmes. We should take the highest thought we have and attempt to enlarge on this consciousness until it embraces a more vital concept of reality. Consciousness, in this sense, means an inner embodiment of ideas. Allow that place within you to embrace and embody. Allow that spirit within you that is starving for more, for beauty, for love, for light, for happiness. Allow that to become more than maybe you have in the past. When we embrace an idea, we are opening to the consciousness that it's possible. We're opening up to the very idea of it. And we move ourselves away from a lot of the arguments that come up with us naturally, that it can't happen, or it won't happen, or it won't happen this way, or it won't happen on this day, because we are embracing the concept and the possibility. When we embody something, we have assimilated it into our consciousness so much that it becomes instinctual. I'm always talking about practice. Once you get to the point where it's just an instinctual behavior, a habitual behavior, it's easier, it's simpler. And what it is it's a knowing that we know that we know. We become much more confident in the realization of who we are and what we are. When we move in that place of envisioning and we ask, what must I embody? That voice speaks to us and tells us all of the things that are going to show up for us, that we can embody in our lives. And instead of discounting it or discrediting it, let's embrace it. Let's accept it. You see, we have at our very fingertips access to the creative process. We can make, do, have, create anything we choose. As long as we don't let this wonderful thing up here that tries to limit us tell us we can't or shut it down. to be open to it. And then what we do is, in this place of embodiment, we begin to become it. I wasn't the minister I am today all those many years ago when I went to school. When I first became a practitioner, I wasn't the practitioner that I was just 5 years ago. I had to become it. I had to grow into it. I had to evolve and expand, if you will. So the idea of becoming. When we become something, or we become someone different than we have been, it's the art of allowing. We allow that to come forth. There's a story in the New Testament scriptures about Jesus, the master teacher, and you're all very familiar with the story. There was a multitude of people, over 5,000, that showed up on the side of a hill, and Jesus was speaking to them, and partway through the day everybody got hungry and there wasn't any food to feed them, and we read in the scripture about the miracle of feeding the 5,000. But once everyone had been fed, and once everyone had been satisfied with the amount of food that was there, Jesus directed the disciples to get into a boat and move out into the sea, and he said he would catch up to them later. And he turned to dismiss the crowd of people. And a storm started to kind of come in as the evening came on, and the winds picked up and the sea became a little bit choppy, and the disciples were out on the water in a boat, and they looked and they saw this apparition coming towards them. And it was Jesus, the master teacher, walking on the water. And they became very scared and very frightened, and Jesus just shouted out to them, "Be calm, don't worry, it's okay, it's me." And one of the disciples in the boat was Peter, and we know a lot about the energy of Peter, always trying to please, always trying to experience everything, and he immediately climbed out of the boat because he was going to walk on the water to greet Jesus. And while he had his eyes on Jesus, he was doing just fine, but then he started to notice the winds, and he started to notice the water and the waves, and he started to become fearful, and he began to sink, and he cried out. And Jesus reached out and took his hand and immediately lifted him up, and they walked to the boat. That is such a great example for each of us about how we focus on things, how we pay attention to what is going on. Peter was becoming the person that he wanted to be, but he allowed distractions to get in the way. He allowed the waves and the storm to affect him. We are living in the storms of life right now. For some of us, they are more intense than for others of us. And it is a global process. It is happening to all of us. It is part of life. Let us turn our attention from the storms of life, and let's put our attention on the peace that we are, the truth that we are, the knowing that we are, and allow ourselves to build that confidence in how we are and how we show up in life, and become that very person, that very being that we choose to be. We have such a beautiful, limitless power that we can tap into anytime we choose. And we can become that expression, that highest expression of ourselves, as long as we stop paying attention to the pitfalls, to the challenges, to the mistakes of the past, to the storms. From her book, Becoming, by Michelle Obama, she reminds us this way: becoming is never giving up on the idea that there's more growing to be done. So I don't care who you are. I don't care what your age is. I don't care where you are in that process that we call life. Each one of us is still growing, still developing, still becoming more, still evolving, still transforming. And as long as we continue on this journey of life, as long as we continue to be a part of this life of form on planet Earth, we have a responsibility to continue to grow, to expand, to learn, to embrace, to embody, to become. I invite you this week to turn your attention to a new idea. Something is going to come up for you that you hadn't thought of before. And while you take time to look at that, just for today, I encourage you to embrace all the good that you are, all of the accomplishments that you have made, all of the wonderful things, the pieces, the components that are you, the beauty of you, just for today. Please pray with me. So knowing that there is a God, there is a power, there is a truth in all things, we know that we can see evidence of this every time we choose, any moment in time. The very miracles of life, as spring is so close, and as flowers begin to burst through the ground, and as buds begin to show up on the trees, this is God expressing. This is the creative nature of all life. And what we know right here and right now is that we are one with Spirit. We are connected in Spirit. We are expressing as Spirit, and Spirit expresses through each of us. We are intertwined. We are connected. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's good. And it feels so comforting to know that no matter what we do or no matter what we attempt to do, we are not alone. We are always guided, always supported. And so in this space, in this place, what we know right now is for each of us, just for today, we have the right and the responsibility to embrace all that we are, to consider the joy of who we are and the expression of life that we are. And we get to give thanks for our very presence, for the very expression of each and every one of us right here, right now. Thankful for all that we are. Thankful for the opportunity to connect in spirit. Thankful for the ability to have limitless resources at our fingertips. Thankful for God in all of this. I know it's perfect and blessed. I call it good, and I call it great, and I call it God. And I let it go. I let it go as I simply embed this into the law of mind, knowing it's done and it's already here now, happening for each of us. I let go. I let God. And so it is.
Grace of God flows